Ugh. We're back. I just bonked the monitor. What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and we are back for yet another crypto mining morning show every Monday through Friday, unless I have some other things going on. We'll talk about that at the end here. 9:45 a.m. Central to 10:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks everybody for being here, all the regulars. I did have it messed up as far as the time. I don't know why it was set to 9:45 p.m. I'm in bed by 9:45 p.m. usually, except for last night because I was playing Halo Infinite with subwoofers and it just felt good. Anyways, this weekend went good. We got a couple medals. I'm happy. There's more details and stuff on Twitter at Son of a Tech if you want to check out the jiu-jitsu junk. I'll answer some questions at the end if you guys are interested in that as well. So today we have lots of information. We have TeamRedMiner release, we have TrexMiner release, and we have a TeamBlackMiner release. On top of that, we also have Iris Energy being like 100% for sure investment according to, I guess, the broker dudes over there in the stock markets, in the markets. So we're going to talk about that, as well as an alleged 4090 Ti mining on Flux Pool and the launch of the XFX BC-160 crypto mining AMD GPU, obviously because XFX is AMD only, and you can purchase that right now on Aliexpress. But before we get into it, as always, we do have a sponsor. Today's sponsor is going to be, and I think there's going to be a little bit of an echo here. I'm going to fix it while we go into the sponsor. But today's sponsor is going to be BT Miners, and they are where I've purchased my most recent ASIC miners, and they are kind enough to sponsor the channel. So here we go. Today's sponsor is BT Miners. Purchasing mining equipment online can be dangerous. With all of the fake storefronts and scams, it can be hard to find a reliable source. That's why when BT Miners reached out for a channel sponsorship, I started by verifying that ordering and delivery went smoothly with a purchase of my own. If you are looking to purchase ASICs hardware from Bitcoin to Dogecoin miners, they are available for purchase on bt-miners.com. BT Miners is a trusted source by both ASICMinerValue.com and CryptoMiner.com. Follow the affiliate link in the description and use promo code FREESHIPPING2021 for free shipping on your order. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully that little bit of an echo should be gone now. There's a little weird thing that happens with my camera, and I noticed it was going on, so I wanted to take care of that. So make sure you guys check out the link for BT Miners down in the description below. We'll also be going over what they have available currently and looking at profitability at the end of the show, as we have been doing with ASIC mining. I'm trying to incorporate some of that in case people are trying to shift out of GPU mining. Me personally, I'm still heavily leveraged in GPU mining. That being said, let's check out some of the new GPU miners that have been released over the weekend. So starting things off, we have TrexMiner version 0.24.8, and let's get into it. So this was released 3 days ago, and it's on their GitHub. And here are some of the changes. They added DNS over HTTPS support when resolving mining pool domain names. As you may know, this is primarily due to the Chinese blocks through their DNS providers, blocking Chinese miners from connecting to certain pools. Actually, pretty much all mining pools at this point. That's why that's there. Depending on your geographical location, this is more than likely irrelevant. We also have added option not to set mining pool domain name in SNI header for SSL connections. That's going to be more privacy stuff. Once again, kind of leaning towards the ever-changing landscape in our geographical regions for mining and what's allowed and not allowed and how it's all functioning. Resolve domain names through SOCKS 5 proxy if the proxy switch is set. Display mining pool IP address in console, and web UI make the monitoring page layout more compact on mobile phones. And Mind Your Biz is in chat, so he always gives me a shout out. I'm gonna make sure that we shout Mind Your Biz out. Make sure you guys go follow his YouTube channel, and we'll continue on with the patch notes here. So bug fixes: Miner is not creating a log file when the log path switch is specified. GPU does not get turned off when overheated while mining in dual mode, and web UI charts not scaled correctly when zooming in. Is there anything great here for mining performance improvements? It doesn't look like it for Trex 0.24.8. That's okay. We have a couple more miners to take a look at and see if there's any improvements there. If you guys do test Trex Miner and notice any sort of improvements with the latest version on either light hash rate GPUs or specific models of NVIDIA cards, let us know in the comment section below. We're in this together, so let's help each other get the highest hash at the lowest watts. Let's take a look now at TeamRedMiner version 0.9.0. This was released 13 hours ago, and this is now going to be a major new release, now adding support for FPGA Ethereum mining. And this is very relevant to the beginning of this video, okay? Or the title of this video. I want you to keep something in mind very clearly here. We have what is basically somebody saying they have RTX 4090 Ti's. We have ridiculous amounts of hash rates on single rigs here. And then we have here support for FPGA ET hash mining right here. So here are the README highlights. And here's how it reads, right? Added initial FPGA ET hash support. See FPGA guide.txt for details. I'll probably be covering this in a separate video. Obviously, I don't have any FPGA miners to test, but I really want to. So here's they basically have all the information that you're going to need to go ahead and check and make sure you're downloading a legitimate version and so on. I don't know what the mining performance of FPGA are at this point. I do know that we can download this. This is on my main rig right now, so I don't ever download any miners to my main rig, nor do I recommend you download any miners to your main rig. We will be downloading it to the test bench, which is kind of in its own little network net space and not attached to this rig. And so I don't like even my YouTube accounts or Google accounts that I use for streaming to be attached to anything. So that's why we're not going to go into the information as far as reading the text guide and all that, but I'm going to hop into it. This is super interesting. So definitely want to check it out. And Detroit Irish asked if I saw the article on Tom's about BIOS modding the 3080 Ti for more hash, and I have not yet, but I will definitely be checking that out. Thanks for the heads up. So TeamRedMiner, this is big news. FPGA ET hash mining sounds like big news to me. Now we have FPGA, we have ASICs, and we have GPUs all mining and ready to go on Ethereum, which is hilarious. The big question, of course, is going to be how that relates to Ethereum Classic and all that later on down the line. How much of Ethereum Classic is going to be congested after the move from, proof of work to proof of stake for Ethereum with ASICs and FPGAs at this point? Is it even going to be viable to GPU mine Ethereum Classic at that point? I'm leaning towards probably not. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the final release that we had over the weekend, and that is Team BlackMiner version 1.32. Now, I feel like every morning we do a crypto mining morning show, we have a new release of Team BlackMiner. The thing is they make a lot of changes right now. That's good that work's being done on it, but it also does mean as a miner, because they are changing things a lot, you need to be cautious because more than likely that means that stuff is still broken. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So here we have fixed CPU validation error on ETH proxy pools that caused rejects skipping valid work. Added light hash rate detector and reset device if detected. Removed reset every hour. So that's actually going to be a pretty good one to go ahead and check out. We did talk about the way they have their detector in or set, and it looks like they do remove the reset. You really don't want to be removing the reset. You want to be adjusting the way the reset responds depending on how much overclock has been applied or how much of the unlock, has been applied to any given light hash rate card. Removing it tells me that there's something still wrong with the light hash rate detection in TeamRedMiner. They removed some light hash rate code for non-light hash rate cards. I guess it was trying to apply it, which I did notice even on LOL Miner recently that I had my 3070 rig. And when the cards were actually getting hot, this is just really interesting. I've replaced pads on 3 3070s now, and they're non-light hash rate 3070s. When the cards were getting hot and the memory temperatures were going up, the LOL miner was actually detecting it as a light hash rate card and started trying to unlock the non-light hash rate 3070s, which caused even more issues with the rig. But what was really happening is that they were thermal throttling, and I had to pull the cards, replace the pads, slap it back in, and then it was detected as a non-light hash rate card again. This is something that obviously is built into the light hash rate code and really is only going to affect 3000 series GPUs. But if you're having one of these weird issues where you're like, I thought it was a non-light hash rate card, and now I'm getting 20 megahash a second, and it's being detected as a light hash rate card, go ahead, check the thermal pads. It's always the pad, bro. I'm just telling you, every time. All right, so CUDA devices that are busy, unavailable, will be skipped instead of program exit, so that's good. Added support for more pools and fixed prohashing.com. Reduced the use of stack, also reduced the overall memory needed, and removed memleak in the list devices switch and the version switch. And then here's their new layout. As you can see right here, it's showing some 1660 supers. That is a good note to bring up as well. The only place you can purchase 1660 supers at not almost original MSRP is GameStop. They don't list them on the website, and they're in store. They did have a shipment this past week. I believe it was Friday. I was able to pick one up at a GameStop in San Antonio, Texas while I was in town. And it was really weird. It was $309, and I bought it and I was able to get it. So I did check a few more stores. I didn't find them everywhere else, but maybe if you have a GameStop and you're looking for some GPUs, maybe swing by, see what's going on. It was a very odd case. I don't know if I know that they had some, there were reports of it, almost a year ago at this point. There were some more here. It was very odd. So go ahead and take your bets there. Now we're going to go ahead and hop into the news for today. We have an article here from CoinDesk, and it's about the Bitcoin miner Iris Energy and kind of their JP Morgan basically saying they're 100% upside as far as investing. So let's go ahead and see why that is, because this is pretty crazy. All right, so Bitcoin miner Iris Energy has more than 100% upside, JP Morgan analyst says. The bank's analyst initiated research on Iris Energy with a buy equivalent rating and a 12-month price target of $30 per share. The shares of Iris Energy, IREN, if you're looking in your Robinhood apps or whatever, a Sydney-based company that mines Bitcoin primarily with renewable energy, has the potential to rise more than 100% in the next 12 months. JP Morgan analysts led by Reginald Smith wrote. All right. So Bitcoin has the possibility of doing 100% as well, right? The price targets are $100,000 by all those trade analysis. This is not financial advice, and I don't really ever talk about price. We talk about more the technical stuff for the most part, other than like trying to determine what our ROIs are, which frankly is impossible if we want to be really honest, and I try to make that clear. ROI calculations, just saying. But this is kind of an odd duck because in general, I think this is the first time we've seen like a large company like JP Morgan do a review and give pretty much 100% upside to it, right? With 100% increase in 12 months and be kind of positive about a Bitcoin mining operation. Let's see if we can figure out why they think it is, right? And if it's just based on Bitcoin. So Iris Energy is a cheap way to play the digital gold rush, said JP Morgan's analyst, citing deep discount for its shares versus other crypto miners. You know what else is a cheap way to play the digital gold rush? Buying $1 worth of Bitcoin. Just saying. I'm just saying, okay? We think IREN is an attractive and efficient way to gain long exposure to Bitcoin prices and sentiment, and are initiating coverage with an overweight rating and $30 December 2022 price target, the analyst wrote. The shares of Iris Energy closed at $14.40 on December 10th, implying about 108% upside based on JP Morgan's price target. Meanwhile, another Wall Street investment firm, Compass Point Research, also initiated research on Iris Energy with a buy rating and 12-month price target of $22, implying more than 50% upside from Friday's close. We believe IREN is well positioned with a large order for 14.5 exahash a second of Bitmain with below market pricing and strategy of owning operating data centers, wrote Compass Point analyst Giuliano Bologna. I had to. I know it's wrong. It's his name. It's Bologna. All right. That's what it is. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any corrections. Bologna also highlighted that Iris Energy has the right pieces to become one of the biggest Bitcoin miners, and that shares are currently trading at a discounted valuation. The shares of the Bitcoin miner have fallen about 42% since its trading debut on November 17th. Last week, the company said its monthly revenue fell 10% in November because of timing issues and increase in network difficulty. Yes, this is the thing. It's whether you invest in Bitcoin mining directly and you're mining it yourself, or you invest it by purchasing the Bitcoin, or whether you purchase a stock in a company that is participating within Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin and how it's performing versus fiat currencies is going to affect it pretty similarly, right? So if Bitcoin goes down, IREN as a stock is more than likely going to go down. If the network difficulty goes up, you're adding even more issues as opposed to just buying Bitcoin if you're also investing into a Bitcoin mining operation, because now you're also beholden to network difficulty. So you have a whole other vector there that's going to, basically affect your investment. On top of that, you're also trusting somebody else. You're trusting this company to run their Bitcoin mining operation properly and efficiently. And so you have basically 3 points of failure as opposed to just buying Bitcoin and having 1 point of failure. Now, there are arguments for purchasing your own Bitcoin miners, and we've talked about a lot of those on that channel. I just wanted to make that very clear when we're talking about these sorts of investments in particular. Shares of Iris Energy went down about 3% in early trading on Monday after rising in pre-market trading. So there's kind of the rundown on what's going on. The interesting part here is traditional financial institutions having huge upsides and predicting huge upsides for Bitcoin mining operations, meaning that we are having a very interesting market performance for, I guess, just cryptocurrencies in general, right? What I see is a huge shift, a mental shift from the previous kind of Bitcoin super cycle, where we might not need to expect like a crazy dip for the bear market, right? And we may just see something kind of level out, especially due to global economies and inflation, etc. Plus everybody in the traditional financial institutions kind of basically eyeing it. And the fun part about that too is, if you guys haven't heard about the Trojan horse theory for Bitcoin, it basically goes something like this. Your top 1% in your traditional financial institutions are generally opposed to Bitcoin, but because the performance of Bitcoin as an asset is skyrocketing and so attractive to so many people, they still want to get on board. But by getting on board, they drive the price of Bitcoin up, and because of the supply cap, etc., and the way that the economy functions, they are essentially kind of in the long run hurting themselves, because they won't be able to print more of that money to put more in their pockets while, you know, destroying your savings account for retirement. Anyways, that's kind of the theory at a brief overview, and we kind of can start to see it coming to fruition in articles like this, and that's why I bring it up. It's super interesting. Would I buy iron personally? Probably not. I'll probably just buy more Bitcoin. And that's kind of the whole thing, right? If you're purchasing the stock, you're also basically adding into that whole, you're not making any differences, right? Like the point of cryptocurrency as it was founded, which we should try to hold to, is giving the everyday man the ability to control his finances and autonomy over that, right? Without the interference of banks, corporations, and governments messing with it. And that was kind of the whole point from the get-go. That's what I'm trying to drive home. Let's get into more mining information and news, which is more fun, and hardware, tech stuff. And this is coming from WCCF Tech, so you know it's rumor. But let's go ahead and get into it. Alleged NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 Ti and AMD Radeon RX 7000 equipped mining farm spotted over 3 terahash effective hash rate. Now this sounds crazy, but an alleged mining farm equipped with next-gen NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 Ti and AMD Radeon RX 7000 series graphics cards have been spotted over at Flux. Mining farms usually include several hundreds or even thousands of graphics cards running in parallel to mine the crypto gold, but this specific setup is just bonkers and too good to be real. Next-gen NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 Ti and AMD Radeon RX 7000 graphics cards equipped mining farm spotted allegedly over 3 terahash of mining rate. I did not need to read that again. I get it. There's no way to validate if this mining farm actually houses the said graphics cards from NVIDIA and AMD, but it is currently up and running. There are 3 active workers attached to the mining account, which include an NVIDIA RTX 4090 Ti, and it's labeled overclock test, and the AMD Radeon RX 7000 overclock test, and AMD Radeon RX 7000 control test. Now, if we scroll down here, here's the screenshot they have. Now, one of the things I'm kind of upset about them with is that they didn't provide the mining address. So when I went to Flexpool, essentially, and we'll show you guys here, because we wanted to go to the miners and then see if we could find which one this would be, there's nothing really listed anymore. There's 4 now, and what I'm seeing is we do see like these terahash, right? 2.4 terahash or whatever, but they're just labeled as like CFGV now, and I don't know if this is the one it was, right? Or which one it was in particular, because it doesn't seem to have any, oh, this is the wrong one. That's the next article, because it doesn't seem to have any of this specific information still on it, right? So I'm not sure where this is coming from, or if they turned it off, or what's going on. But the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 Ti worker is producing an estimated 1.2 to 1.3 terahash. For comparison, a single RTX 3090 produces about 110 to 120 megahash. It will take a setup of at least 10,000 RTX 3090s to produce a 1.2 to 1.3 terahash hash rate. So why is this in question? Maybe it's just somebody that had 10,000 3090s and labeled the miner as a 4090 Ti. That's possible, right? Nope, you would not be able to do that. It would be, I mean, without some significant, I guess, programming that you would have to waste a whole bunch of time on. Because remember, you have those each individual rig reporting. So this is a single rig with 1.2 terahash. A single rig with 1.2 terahash. There's not a GPU mining motherboard that has 10,000 GPUs on it, right? Like, you're not going to be able to plug 10,000 GPUs into a single mining motherboard. It's not really going to function that way. I'm sure there's some ways around it. Maybe somebody was just playing with it in their farm and they finally figured it out and they're like, haha, I'm going to mess with people and put the 4090 Ti in there. What is more likely though? And this is kind of the point where I said, remember at the beginning of the show, remember what TeamRedMiner released or launched. They launched the FPGA mining stuff. It is possible that there's an FPGA miner out there that could be doing terahash, possibly. I don't know. That's also pretty far-fetched. That's a lot of hash. I don't know what's going on. This is a mystery I want the internet to solve. So if you guys can help me solve it, that would be super cool. I'm interested. But the worker tab doesn't show how many graphics cards are running, obviously, on the setup, but these definitely aren't just one. The AMD RX 7000 control test is producing an average of 657.3 gigahash, while the RX 7000 overclock test is producing 580 gigahash rate. The mining farm combined was able to produce up to 3.91 terahash a second in mining hash rate in Ethereum, and currently averages 2.47 terahash a second. Based on the average hash rate, the mining farm is able to output 5 ETH per 3 hours and has monthly estimate payouts of over $4 million US. Each transaction is worth around 20,000 US every 3 hours. The NVIDIA RTX 4090 Ti and AMD Radeon RX 7000 GPUs are going to be part of the next-gen gaming lineup and are not expected to launch until the end of 2022. The mining farm that has been spotted joined 12 days ago and has raised the network difficulty to 11 pH cents. And here's the deal too. If we go over here, we start seeing that there's not just one here. I believe there's two on here already. Yeah, see, this one has 2.4 terahash. They're relabeling them too. And then we have, what was the other one? And this one here as well. 1 terahash, 1 terahash, 1 terahash. Whatever's happening, and we actually should go to Ethermine as well. So let's go to ethermine.org. Let's go ahead and take a look at the statistics here. Where do we go to miners again? Thought there was a way to... I have not been on... I have not been on here in a long time. Where's the miner list? I might have to come back to this. I thought it was under statistics. Help me out, boys. I'm derping today. Where's the miner list? All right, well, we'll come back to it and try to look at it. But the question is going to be, you know, are these starting to come on in droves, right? Because right now, what we're seeing is definitely there are mining rigs, individual rigs cracking the terahash mark. Terahash marks being cracked on mining rigs right now. What does that mean for you as a GPU miner? It more than likely means that proof of stake might not even be your worry for Ethereum at this point. The difficulty is going to skyrocket as soon as whatever this is that's on the network hitting terahashes is out in the public and everybody knows about it. All your current GPUs will essentially be obsolete. Just end of story. Done. You're like, done. You're going to be having to move on to Flux or Ravencoin or Ergo or something else. This may happen sooner than later, and proof of stake might not even matter if these are coming online like this. And we'll also show you guys the increase in difficulty that is going up. An Asian gave me the proper address. I'm going to copy that out, bud. Thank you. Well, those addresses, and the reason I'm showing them is because we do have terahash on them. That's the point here. So if we go back, it doesn't even matter which one specifically, because whatever's happening is affecting, there's two miners here that already have it, right? If we do this one, yeah, so these are the overclock tests that they have up. This one's offline right now. Whoa, fudge, $151,000 a day. But we have multiple miners on FlexPool doing terahash right now. So we need to, keep our eyes out, peeled. You're definitely going to want to be checking what to mine. As soon as this gets out to the public, we're going to have some interesting problems on our hands for us GPU miners, because I don't know. I don't think proof of stake matters anymore. As soon as people get their hands on this, it's game over, right? Pretty much game over. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the new BC-160 crypto mining card that you can purchase, and we do know about, from AMD and XFX. Coming from WCCF Tech, this is hardware and this is no longer a rumor, so my joke doesn't apply anymore right now. But XFX BC-160 crypto mining card available for sale. AMD Navi 12 GPU with 8 gigabytes of HBM2, priced at $2,000 US. AMD's board partners have repurposed their older Navi 12 GPU inventory for the crypto mining market in the form of the BC-160. One such model leaked out earlier in October is now available for sale and priced at $2,000. AMD's Navi 12 GPU repurposed for crypto mining market, blah, blah, blah. They always get me with that. Earlier, it was reported that XFX, a prime partner and AIB of AMD, was working on its very own crypto mining card. We have seen other AMD partners such as Sapphire and PowerColor also come up with their own mining cards, but these are based on the RDNA 2 architecture. The XFX BC-160 card is based on the much older RDNA 1 architecture. In terms of the specifications, the AMD BC-160 crypto mining card, which is being produced by XFX, features the 7nm Navi 12 GPU with 2,304 cores packed with 36 compute units. The card has 8 gigabytes of HBM2 memory, which is awesome, clocked at 1.6 gigabits per second pin speeds, and run across a 2048-bit bus interface. So there are 2 stacks of HBM2 on board the package, each featuring 2 gigabyte stacks and a bandwidth of 512 gigabytes per second. Awesome. The card comes with a 150 watt TGP and has ETH outputting at 69.5 megahash a second, which gives it a power per watt of, hash per watt of 0.46. This is lower PPW than the entry-level RDNA 2 Navi 23 offerings, as illustrated below. Here's the thing that I'm leaning towards, though, and that is going to be that we're looking at 512 gigabytes per second. I think it's going to be faster than this, but they're saying that with optimized settings, the card can deliver 72.3 megahash a second at 123 watts, which provides a slightly better PPW rating. Here are the screenshots. The card is optimized to run in Linux, Ubuntu, Red Hat operating systems and can be utilized in a 12 GPU farm, or mining rig, I assume is what they mean by that. The card itself features a dual slot design with a custom PCB and comes in both active cooling with a blower fan or a standard passive cooled design. Power is provided through a dual 8-pin connector on the back, and just like every mining card, it comes with a headless design. So you can purchase it right now on Aliexpress. I want to, but my Christmas list was a little crazy this year for personal reasons, so I don't know that I'm going to purchase it quite yet, because I still want to be purchasing. It seems like the 3090s I'm able to purchase for $1,800 a pop just make more sense, and I'm trying to actually make my mining farm maintain profitability. So for me, it's kind of like, I want this for testing for the channel, but I also would rather have a 3090, I think. This could be faster than the 3090 though. It feels like it should be, right? Because if we look at RTX 3090 specs, if we look at that, let's just get into the nitty gritty. Give me the specifications right here. Does it list it here? Yeah, so memory interface is 384-bit. What does that calculate out to? Oh no, never mind. That's double, 936 gigabytes per second. So yeah, like, I guess that would be about right. 72 mega hash a second in the 60s, right? So here's the listing on Aliexpress. You can purchase it. I think there's 200 pieces available on this listing for $2,000, and there were a couple other listings that you could purchase as well. So is it a good deal? We could calculate that out, right? I guess. So we could go to what to mine. We could plug in 72 mega hash a second, 125 watts, and calculate that out. They do seem super efficient. That's $4.19 a day. If we popped open a calculator and we did, 2,000 divided by $4.19, you would be looking at a payoff time of 477 days. So the ROI is not great, and we don't know how it performs on other coins. We could probably get an idea, but at this point, it's kind of what you're looking at. It's not great. It's not great. But there you go. That's the release of the BC-160. In pretty much any other world or any other market, it sounds like it'd be amazing for mining. I'd purchase them and throw them in there. But you also need to keep into consideration that it's a headless design, will more than likely not work in the resale market for basic desktop needs or gaming. So you won't have that resale ability that you would on other GPUs like an RTX 3090. And you just need to keep that in your sights and thoughts and on top of your head. So let's go ahead and talk about the cryptocurrency mining market, what's going on there. So the difficulty did rise. We saw it. The price of ETH went down. We saw it. However, if you're on Flexpool, those little terahash boys are getting you more blocks. So I'm actually up as far as total ETH, down in total price. So now, as opposed to the 0.07 Ethereum that we have been making in general, we are now making 0.084 ETH a day. So I'm actually up in the amount of ETH I'm earning. However, in the fiat translation, we're down to $330 a day. For a while there, we were sitting right around 400. It was awesome, but we've had some issues. So I also have had a couple rigs go offline. Let's go ahead and talk about the biggest one that people need to take into account. So we've talked about my rig that I put on Ravencoin that started having issues with basically needing to bump the voltage up on the GPUs, specifically 5700 XTs, because the miners were failing. Well, I have some bad news, guys. I have had now one 5700 XT in a separate rig that was only mining Ethereum that has required me to up the core voltage, thereby, of course, reducing my efficiency on that GPU because, we're going to be using up more power. We had to go up to 780 millivolts. If you guys aren't familiar, around 740 to 750 millivolts on the core is my recommended settings for the RX 5700 once you've strapped in the timings and so on. What's the error that's happening? Well, the error that's happening that you may see here and there is going to be a COM buff exit error. And it's confusing because it's not telling you what GPU it is. It's a little confusing. But where you can tell what GPU it is up on this initialization. So reboot the rig and then you're going to open the miner. And this is for TeamRedMiner, right? And it'll do like initializing GPU 1, 2, 3. Once it kind of pauses and then pops the error, whatever GPU it is before that error is popped is the GPU that's having the issue. You're going to go into your Hive OS. You're going to, for testing purposes, remove your overclocks on that GPU just in general, reboot the rig, and if it initializes, you know that you've had some core degradation on that GPU and you need to bump the memory voltage up. At that point, you're just going to implement your traditional overclocking strategies and start bumping up that voltage until that error goes away. So you'll go from 740 to 750 to 760 to 770 to 780 to 790 to 800 until that error goes away, and then you're good to go. Being sure, of course, not to go over the stock specs, which I don't know off the top of my head. So be careful there. 780 is where that error went away for me, and we were able to basically reapply our overclocks. So our memory overclocks are there. It's still hashing the same amount. We just have this one particular issue with some core degradation on a few GPUs. Total GPUs that we've had core degradation on at this point are 4. 3 of them were on Ravencoin and 1 of them on Ethereum. So there you go. Just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of this kind of issue, what the error is, and how to resolve it in case you do run up on it at any given time. Let's go ahead and check out the mining market using what to mine with its default settings of 10 cents a kilowatt hour. And let's go ahead and pop into the RTX 3090 like we like to do. And it is down to $6.32 a day after power cost. So unfortunately, we're under that $7 a day. Boo-hoo, wah, wah. It is what it is. So we are seeing the markets down pretty steadily. Let's go ahead and check the RTX 2080 Ti and see if Flux is still number 1 on it. It is not. Ethereum has taken over at $2.98 a day after power costs. Flux has actually dropped below swap, which is XWP, at $2.49 a day on Flux. And then, of course, we have the swap at $2.53. If you're currently on Flux with your 2080 Ti's, I would not swap to swap. Don't swap to the swap. Stay on the Flux. Flux has a lot of promising stuff coming along. They're also going to remain GPU or GPU mineable, ASIC resistant, that sort of stuff. I'd recommend sticking right there. Just sticking in the pocket. Hold. Hold. But if you're on ETH, obviously, hold on ETH. Hold on Flux. This is not financial advice. I just wouldn't be popping to the fly-by-night coins, personally. I don't think it would be smart. Let's go ahead and take a look at the RX 5700s and see how they are performing for me. And after a 10 cents a kilowatt an hour, we are looking at $3.09 a day on Ethereum. If we have to pop over to another coin, unfortunately, we are going to take about a 50% hit, making $1.58 a day on Firo. It goes even lower for Ravencoin at $1.31. Of course, we do have that Ravencoin halving coming up here at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. I think it's announced. I do need to make a video on it, and we will be chatting about that here in the future, meaning that this price could actually be more if we're talking about speculative, that sort of thing, right? Best case, if it actually doubled after the halving, though, you're still making less than ETH, right? You're at $2.62 a day, which would be less than ETH. So there you go. All right, so let's hop into mining pool stats and take a look at that Ethereum difficulty bump that we've been hearing so much about. We are at 11.75. We are still seeing Ethermine in number 1 with 267 terahash, F2 pool at 158 terahash. I'm wondering, where's that Flex pool? No. It didn't do it right. There it is. So yeah, Flex pool at 41 terahash. I don't see the big bump in it. I guess it happened before. Anyways, so there you go. As far as all of that is concerned, let's go ahead and check out the Bitcoin network difficulty, which should be going up as well. Yep, there's a steep increase here. We kind of could know that that was happening basically based on the previous article we were reading about iron. So we do have an increase in difficulty there. Let's check out Ravencoin, see if we got anything going on with that. Ravencoin Classic, no. We've had a little bit of a dip in difficulty, it looks like. So Ravencoin might be one to keep an eye on. Let's take a look at Flux. Flux had a huge spike and then a huge dip. So it spiked up to 29 and then came back down to 17.05. Let me adjust this out for you guys here so you can see the difficulty chart a little bit better. Yeah. All right. So there you go. You can see we had this big dip right at the end there. And then let's go ahead and look at Ergo. Not Ergon, Ergo. And it's been on a steady decrease in difficulty, so keeping an eye on, of course, Ergo might be worth it. Flypool's been going down in difficulty pretty steadily. GetBlock had a pretty significant decrease, but Nanopool steadily decreasing in difficulty. Looks like there was an increase in Ergo on hero miners. That's more than likely home miners, I think, because most of the guides on the YouTubes are from hero miners. I know mine is. I think most of the people that did the guides did it for hero miners. So more than likely what that means is that we're seeing home GPU miners bumping up the difficulty as far as just here recently on hero miners. Let's go ahead and look at mining pool profits for Ethereum. For the last 90 days, Crazy Pool is in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, and Ethermine in third. Last 60 days, we have Crazy Pool in first with Mining Pool Hub in second and Ethermine in third again. Last 30 days, ZET takes first and Crazy Pool moves into second and Flex Pool moves into third. Last 21 days, ZET moves into first or stays in first, Mining Pool Hub in second and Crazy Pool in third, knocking Flex Pool all the way into fourth. Last 14 days, we have ZET in first with Crazy Pool in second and Flex Pool in third. Last 7 days, ZET in first with Crazy Pool in second and Flex Pool in third. And the last 3 days, Crazy Pool takes first with Mining Pool Hub in second and 2 miners in third. And then the last day, we have 2 miners in first with Ethermine in second and Flex Pool in third. Now, a disclaimer about these numbers is that obviously you don't want to be trying to pool hop because you will lose your kind of seniority in whatever pool you're in. This is a general thing that you can check if you are looking at switching pools, but the best thing to increase your profitability is to check out how to avoid stale shares video on this channel and ping different pools for the lowest ping. That is going to provide you with the least amount of stale shares and in turn going to increase your profitability on your farm. Secondary to that is going to be making sure your overclocks are not too high and making sure that you keep your invalid shares low. These are just things that you need to take into consideration if you have a farm. And so I like to make sure that that is clear. Let's go ahead and talk about ASICs today. And let's go ahead and look at miner stat for that. We still have the Gold Shell KD5 in second place, basically first place because the E9 is not real. Not real. Also, 3000 mega hash. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know where these terahash miners are coming from. I really don't. You got the Insilicon A11s in second, basically. You got the Antminer L7 pumping out $79 a day. You know, that went down quite a bit. We were looking at $200 a day for the L7s, and they were selling for like, 30 grand a pop. 24 to 30 grand a pop, at least here in the stateside, and they dropped pretty significantly in profitability, and you're relying on Litecoin and Dogecoin for those. That's shaky ground, it feels like to me. The D7 that we talked about before is back up, so that's good to take a look into. Let's go ahead though and pull up and see what is actually even available at BT Miners here real quick. You still have your Bitcoin miners. Let's see what the first Bitcoin miner is on here. Well, there's an S19 XP, but that's not available yet. So you got the Antminer S19 Pro doing $23 a day. Let's see, S19 Pro, 110 terahash. You got $12,007 right now from BT miners. $12,700. And so if we took a look at that pricing and divided by the 20, let's just say 25 to be as fair as possible, you're looking at an ROI of 508 days on that particular miner. Let's go ahead and see what they got. That's going to be the best Bitcoin miner as far as that goes. You probably want to look at the pricing, right? Because the S19 is a little cheaper. I'm not sure anything's necessarily cheap enough to break you under a year though on that necessarily. We do still have the Inosilicon A11s here with the 1500 mega hash at 31,000. Still feels extremely expensive. This one's interesting. I'd love to get one, but I don't know that I could afford one. It does say mine ETH till June. It's $12,000 for 450 mega hash. I'm just kind of interested in the actual miner itself. I wouldn't pay $12,000 for it, just to be clear. Because obviously it's not great. You could get at least 500 mega hash some other way. Anyways, I just think it's kind of looks cool. So we got, what do we got? The LT5 is 9,900. The L3 Plus, not worth it. Gold Shell X5, not really worth it at that. Well, Gold Shell X5 might not be as bad. Let's take a look at the special miners. You got the CK5, the Handshake. You still got the D7. We do have the D7 here for 14.4. And the D7 is doing $42.95 a day. 14,400 divided by 42. That is a less than a year ROI on the D7, so it still seems like the best thing to purchase. But we'll look a little bit more, at least through BT miners right now, is that D7. Golly, it's so crazy to see a KD box go for 8,300 when they used to go for 600. It's nuts. Or was it 800? Either way, not that much. There is a Grin miner here, iPolo G1. I haven't heard of that one. iPolo. Doesn't seem to be coming up. So let's take a look. We're looking at, it's a Grin miner, 36 GPS, ASIC. What is that algo? Sorry, I'm not familiar with what Grin would be on. I have not done this in a while. I might have to check chat and like do some more research in a second. Does it say the algo down here? I'm gonna have to Google it. What's the Grin? We'll just do Grin mining calculator. Grin. See if there's anything up here. Coin Wars, coin calculators. Here we go. What is GPS? I don't know how to calculate this. Is it hash? You jerks. What would 36 GPS be equivalent to? If you guys could help me out. Is the Gold Shield Mini Doge still worth buying? I don't think so. Personally. All right, let's go ahead and get into questions. We have about 6 minutes for questions. And then I'll look into this iPolo. I want to say iPollo because I'm from Texas, but it's an integrated chicken. Give me some pollo loco. All right, let's go ahead and look here for questions. Oh, remember for questions, if you go super chats and then tagging me. So did you see the article on Tom's about BIOS modding? We already answered that. I'll add it to my list. 4EMH says, hi mate, you good? I am good, dude, thanks. Jacob says, at Son of a Tech, could it be multiple rigs with the same name? I guess, can you do that? Will it report it? I think you're right. I think you could do that. Which would make more sense, I suppose. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're right. That's how they could have done it. These could be 1.2 terahash. Same rig. Or whatever. Or different rigs. With the same name. It's going to be ugly in Hive OS. If you guys have ever done that before. But, yeah. I'll make that correction and put it in the notes. Thanks for basically reminding me that we could do that. Danilo? Dan? I'm going to call you Dan. Thanks. Simon H says, at Son of a Tech, Gold Shell Mini Doge still worth buying? I said no. The word donor says, at Son of a Tech, thinking of reapplying thermal pads and grease on one of my cards. What's your opinion of the cheaper products on Aliexpress? Do you have any suggestions? I just get the blue pads from Amazon, and then for like the 3090s and stuff, you don't want to go cheap. So it depends on what card it is, right? So if it's like a 5700 or an RX 580 or like a GTX 1080 Ti, I'll just get like those blue pads on Amazon. If it's an RTX 3080, right, for example, or a 3090, I'm getting like either G-Lid or Thermal Grizzly. John Lemon says, so did they call you a goat when you won the shiny medals? No. But it was fun. I lost pretty hard a couple times. It was rough. I got subbed. I got submitted. Rear naked choked. Jacob Burgess says, grain is calculated in graphs a second. Does that translate in the calculators to hash a second, though? What does that translate to in the calculators is my, I guess, is the question. Sojin Z says, at Son of a Tech, I have a German article saying ETH 2.0 might come in 2022, 2023. You can send it on Twitter at Son of a Tech, and I'll take a look at it. Detroit Irish says, at Son of a Tech, how much do you think ETH ASICs will drop in price once ETH goes proof of stake, if it ever does? Yeah, if it ever does is still the question. I mean, I hear that it's happening. Tim, I think on Friday said it's happening. So it's happening. I don't know when exactly. But, you know, I think they're going to hit the dirt. Their profitability is not good on Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic is kind of its only savior. I think that Ethereum Classic should fork and kick all the ASICs off before that even happens, and then just kill the ASICs all the way. But at the same time, I realize that might not be the best plan, if that makes sense. Because those ASICs are gonna, oof. I'd hate to have ETH ASICs right now. I feel like I'd be very upset. Jaswell says, at Son of a Tech, I have two RMA, a Zotac 3060 Ti that just died on me. When I get a replacement, should I sell it or keep mining? Keep mining. Right? Why did it die on you, I guess is the question. Xander CoinMiner says, at Son of a Tech, do you have a recommended source for power supplies for 6 to 8 GPU rigs? Yeah, Parallel Miner should be in my affiliate links down below. And then I have a couple videos on how to utilize them, but they are server power supplies. You're going to get cleaner, cheaper power, but the power supplies are loud. So if you don't want a loud power supply, then you're going to spend a lot of money, and you're going to want to get like the EVGA Platinum 1600 watts. And they're going to be like $500. Joe User says, as Son of a Tech, I'm brand new to mining, just got an RTX 3090. Memory is running at 110C. And I read that the thermal pads would bring the temp down. However, this would void warranty. Thoughts? So depends on where you're at, but we do technically in the United States have right to repair. That being said, it's up to you if you want to take that risk or not. Here's the problem. NVIDIA and the board partners will say that 110 degrees Celsius is within spec. While they are technically correct, the problem is that it never goes above 110 C because it starts to thermal throttle and reduce your performance. This is a fight that a lot of people have been having with EVGA and all the other board partners when trying to RMA for hot memory temperatures, and it does affect all applications, including gaming, and it is super disappointing that they basically won't accept the fact that you can even see and demonstrate the thermal throttling to them, and that it's not performing correctly, and that you need the temperatures to be lower. But the problem here also is that it was a bad design from the get-go, with the memory modules being passively cooled on the rear of the GPU. So the only way to fix it is yourself, because they will not fix it for you. If you do continue to ignore it, you will have degradation within your memory modules. So it is actually needed to do it to make sure that the card is performing properly and doesn't die on you early either. And it has to be by far the scummiest thing I think NVIDIA and its board partners have ever done. Maybe not ever, but as far as hardware wise, ever done. So even EVGA, who's typically really good about RMA, will just tell you 110C is within spec. And it's like, yeah, but it's also saying it's thermal throttling, you jerk. It really frustrates me. But you have to do it yourself if you want to fix it right. Happy Dictator says, you're going to throw some rigs on Flux. Good luck with that, sir. Bjorn says, as Son of a Tech, what is your favorite motherboard? Probably the one I use the most is the ASRock H110 BTC Pro. I've just had it for a while. I am going to be testing out an H510 BTC Pro soon. I'm looking forward to that. It's a little different though. Happy Dictator says, can you do a video on Flux parallel assets? I could try to add it to my list. Boy Matthew says, as Son of a Tech, what are your speculation price increase of Raven after the halving? I don't know. I already did a video on it, but it was mainly just to point out the Bitcoin super cycle. I don't really do price predictions that much. You know, if it's a halving, you would hope that it would double in price, but that won't be exactly true. And we also have to worry about other things as well. The word Donner says, as I'm a tech, I see, thanks to cards, I'm reapplying thermal paste pads as the RTX 3060. What about thermal paste? Have you tried off-brand thermal grease? If so, do they work? No, I mean, the Arctic MX4 is just, I just buy big tubes of that, and I've been using that for years. Bjorn says, do you have AC in your mining room? No, just ventilation. So once your GPUs are running at a certain heat, you're talking about basically in a mining farm and mining in general, your goal is going to be airflow, CFM, over temperature. Because even in Texas, where you would have like 110 degree Fahrenheit days or whatever, it's still going to be cooler than the GPUs themselves. Right? So that's the logic behind it. You want to move more air, not cool down the air. Cooling down the air is just going to be essentially impossible. Like, if your goal is to cool down the air and increase your farm size, you're chasing the wind. Pun intended. So there you go. Detroit Iris says, at Son of a Tech, any idea how long your 5700s were mining before they crapped out? So the 5700s have all been running since September of last year, so over a year. PXL Nona says, at Son of a Tech, could the terahash rigs be ASICs? So the terahash rigs, and I'm going to admit that I completely derped. As we talked about earlier, the terahash rigs are more than likely somebody just naming a whole bunch of rigs the exact same name. I guess that's cool. I would say like that is a freaking nightmare. If you have that in Hive OS, but cool. My only argument against that that I'm going to bring up is your management of those rigs is going to be awful. You're not going to be able to tell which rig is down. You're not going to be able to troubleshoot anything, right? Like it's going to be a nightmare. So with 1.2 terahash, that's 10,000 RTX 3090s. Let's just say you get 13 GPUs run, 13 3090s on each rig. So that's 10,000 divided by 13. That's 769 rigs all named the exact same thing. If a rig goes down, you will not know which rig went down. Like as a GPU miner, that's like a nightmare. Why would you do that for a joke? I mean, I guess that's not a fun joke to me. I wouldn't even want to do that with my 5 rigs or whatever, my 14 rigs. That sounds like a nightmare. But you know, it is possible that that's what's happening. All right. Minerstat says it's hash in second. Yeah, so that's what it was. So, but GPS, but that wouldn't be, okay. Real quick, before we, why can't I find the, okay. So here's the problem with that. 36 hash per second doesn't make much sense, right? I'll get off Coin Wars because that would be $1.42 a day. 36 graphs per second doesn't sound good at all. For $26,000, I feel like it has to be something other than hash a second. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. Happy Dictator says, at Son of a Tech, the creator of Flux, ran the biggest GPU mining farm in the East Coast with 4,000 to 5,000 GPUs. Yeah, that's only 4,000 to 5,000. You need 10,000 RTX 3090s to get this. I don't know, man. I know it's graphs per second, but the calculators are in hash per second, and I don't know what that translates to. You think it translates to gigahash? Could it be the hash rate that is purchased from NiceHash? It could be. That's a good point, Dan. How much would that cost you? Is there even that much available? Is there even that much available? I mean, that'd be a fun joke, but bro, you'd have to rent all of NiceHash. total available speed. So it's possible. There's 12 terahash available in the east and 14 terahash available in the west. It's possible. It's definitely possible. It's just Elon Musk fucking with people. Elon was like, bro, I'm going to rent a terahash and then name it RTX 4090 Ti. Sounds like a gas, bro. That's going to cost you a ton of money. So, Raul, if graphs per second equals hash per second, this is the worst miner I've ever seen in my life. $26,000 to make $1.41 a day. That's the worst deal ever in the existence of humanity. I would love a 26,000 day ROI. Latrell says it was BBT. Yeah, I mean, nah, like BBT's farm's not even that big, bro. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. I don't see how this is happening. I think Texas Ace does make a good point. You don't have to have name the rigs in Hive in order to have them mine under the same worker name. You can change you would do a custom flight sheet and put a custom worker name in for all the workers. No, yep, all right. You got it, dude. Thanks. That makes all the sense in the world. Here is what is true. The difficulty did go up a lot, and three big miners are now on FlexPool in the terahash that were not on FlexPool. Right? So we know that difficulty's going way up regardless. Yeah, it's probably bits. Fucking with people, huh? All right. The second miner has FlexPool listings the same as worker names in nice hash regions. That would make sense too. Miners. You said the second one does? Oh yeah, here. Germany 1, Sweden 1, USA 1, US East 1. Well, if people are renting that much hash rate from NiceHash, they're getting ready for a pump after the holidays. Right? Obviously not financial advice. I'm just assuming that if people are renting that much hash rate right now, they think the difficulty of the network's going to skyrocket, right? Elon, I figured it out, guys. It's the Tesla. It's the, what is it? Is it the model? I don't know what models they are. Damn it! It's the Roadster mining Ethereum. Say goodbye to your Teslas, boys. miners are going to buy them all up. Thanks for watching today. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for the corrections and helping me figure everything out. I think my brain's a little out of it from the jiu-jitsu this weekend, but the news topics were fun. We learned some stuff and we're moving on. I do want to give like a shout out to my jiu-jitsu gym, NBTC in New Braunfels, Texas. If you guys want to come roll and you're in the Texas area, come drop in, say hey. I'm there a lot, so I'll probably be there. I'm headed there right now. I will see you next Tuesday. I think.